for our next, potentially final qualifying match, as I believe everything else is wrapping up. But we find ourselves in a fresh series. Here we go. And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Hecate, we have the red Protoss player representing Sidestorm Gaming. It is MindelVK. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Finnish Zerg player representing Berserker Esports. It is Mixu. We are back with the ZvPs. And again, upon hearing this message, predictions are open in the chat, so you can place your bets on how you think this best of 5 will go, on who you think will qualify for the closed qualifiers. As the predictions are open for a couple of minutes. As so far it is going to be a hatch gas pool opener here out of Mixu. Again, Mixu as a player, he does come across as a very standard player and does thrive in the mid game, similar to Trifax in a way. I would kind of correlate his play very similarly to Trifax, at least in ZvP. Meanwhile, MindelVK is a lot more wild as a player. He's more cheeky, he's willing to tech up, tech up in a very aggressive manner and be very in your face as well. We were able to cast MindelVK in a best of 5 against Miyamaika a couple of weeks ago, and to be fair, I don't know how much we can really extrapolate from that because Miyamaika is a very unique player, and it did lead to some very interesting and very dynamic games. And it was a great series. I loved it. It was the finals of a Sparkling Tuna Cup, I think like 2 months ago at this point. But we'll see how MindelVK can thrive against a much more standard Zerg player. Here we go. As for now, again, just a hatch gas full. We're going to be saturating our natural base. Link speed is on the way. We do pull out of gas here, so we're not rushing into, a baling bust or a fast lair or anything out of the norm. Anything like a fast evo chamber. Just a very efficient opener here out of Mixu as he does take his third. Likewise, across the map, MindelVK going to be going for a gate expand into a cyber core into a starport. Sorry, Stargate. Into a Stargate as well. So again, everything looking as it should. Everything coming together in the end. MindelVK is just going to be threatening a shade, just getting some scouting information. He shouldn't commit. He doesn't want to throw his first adept away. He's just making sure that everything's on the up and up, that no additional gases have been taken. There's no fast Roach Warren, no fast Lair. And our first unit of choice here for MindelVK is going to be a Void Ray. Let's go. It is going to be a Void Ray first. This is going to be to shut down Overlords to keep the follow-up tech hidden. Now, we have seen MindelVK rush into Skytoss before. I don't know if this is the best map for that. I feel like there are better maps for rushing into Skytoss. But of course, I'm not too familiar with the vetoes. I don't know what will and what won't be coming up next. So we'll see as the Void Ray is attempting to hunt down that Overlord. And behind it, we have an Oracle. Let's go. We have the Oracle follow-up, but of course, Mixu is in the dark as to what is going on. He's going to be sending out his Lings, trying to get a read on which third base has been taken, and whether or not a third base has been taken at all, actually. The Void Ray already getting one Overlord, is looking to get a second as well. The Queens come in, but we can't transfuse. Ooh, and oh! Oh my god! MindelVK on a bit of an A move. He's distracted by the Lings, and the Overlord, sorry, the Void Ray does go down. The Overlord survives. MindelVK, a bit of a blunder there. Did slip up. That was an expensive loss. That's a Void Ray for one Overlord. Not worth it at all for the Protoss. Behind this, we throw down the Roach Warren. Interesting. A sub 5-minute Roach Warren from Mixu. Considering it's a Stargate opener, bold move. Pretty early Roach Warren here from Mixu as he's saturating his bases, getting his third up and running. I mean, to be fair, he doesn't really know what the follow-up is, so maybe he's getting it early just to be safe. Just to be safe and secure. Lair is on the way, Evo Chamber as well. And Mixu is just securing himself. Ling run by, just make sure that there's actually saturation going on at the third. And the Oracles, they dive into the main base. The Queens are in position. And the workers will not go down. As MindelVK at least keeps the Oracles alive, they can still get some more damage over time. They can still get some more value. Up! As they dip in, get another 2 drones. And dip on out. And we have our follow-up. Our follow-up for MindelVK is looking pretty standard. Again, it was an Oracle first into... Sorry, it was a Stargate opener into an Oracle, into Blink Stalkers and +1. Again, the Void Ray did kind of turn things on their head a little bit, but we got to where we wanted to go. We got to where we needed to go, as we have a massive gateway explosion behind this. With all these gateways, it looks like MindelVK, he isn't taking up into Colossus production, into a second Robo, into a Robotic Spay. He is looking to be in the face of Mixu with Blink Stalkers. Oh boy. Meanwhile, Mixu is trying to take up. He's working on Aspire, heading towards Mutas. But I don't think he can get away with that. He's going to have to focus on a Roach-heavy composition here because Mixu is about to be under threat by Blink Stalkers. The Prism is on the way, and MindelVK is going to be moving out. The Oracles, they get a couple of workers. They do get a couple of drones. But here comes the main army alongside that War Prism. This isn't an 8-gate all-in, but it's actually a 10-gate all-in. I was curious. This is basically a 3-base all-in out of MindelVK. Mass Blink Stalkers and nothing but Blink Stalkers. Mixu, he does make 9 Mutas. And I don't think he can get away with that. He's going to be in quite some trouble here as Mixu does push in towards that 3rd base. Roaches try to come in from behind, but they get caught out. And Mixu... he's already bleeding out so much. And again, we can warp in at 10 Stalkers at a time. Or 10 units at a time. Mixu was getting ready for a longer game, for a later game. But that's not what he's getting, as he's bleeding out so many of these things. And again, he spent so much gas on these Mutas. And they're not paying off. The Stalkers are getting out of control. The Mutas, they're looking to come in from behind potentially to dive on that Prism. Yeah, he's going for it. He's going for the Prism. And it looks like he will get it. Takes it down. No more reinforcements. But the boys are being pulled into Zealots. And it looks like MindelVK should be able to break through. Blinks on forward. Gets on top of the Queens. Gets on top of the Roaches. He doesn't have reinforcements. Can Mixu hold? Up. It looks like he barely will. He barely does hold on. But at a cost of 19 drones. He does get a couple more Stalkers here towards the end, but we have reinforcements coming in from behind. And it still feels like MindelVK has too much. Oh, as he is bleeding out too many Stalkers, though. Again, his reinforcements are trickling in. And they're being thrown away. MindelVK, he lost a lot of momentum there. He lost a lot of Stalkers. But MindelVK has got the better economy. He's up to 63 workers. He can back off if he wanted to, but he doesn't really have any other form of tech. That's the problem. He has no Colossus, Disruptors, Archons. None of that. Only gateway units. Oh, once again, the reinforcements, they get caught out. Big losses here for MindelVK. You can't afford this. Not like this, Papi. Not like this. Does catch the Mutas, which is good. Lings at the same time go for a big counterattack. The wall is not a wall. And probes are going to be going down. But at the same time, MindelVK dives on the main army. Gets on top of the Roaches. And the target fire not looking too bad. The drones putting in a lot of work. Mixu's trying to hold on, but it's a numbers game at this point. His economy can barely sustain himself. The Lings across the map, they're getting work done. Probes are falling. Pylons as well. Is that going to be enough? Nah. As the third base will fall. At the same time, we get a Zealot Warp in back at home. So these Lings are being dealt with. They are racing back. MindelVK still just not slowing down. And Mixu, he has taken another 2 bases. He did double expand. So he has a third and a fourth. But look at the worker count. He is down to 34 drones. His worker count is non-existent at this point. Which again shows us that he doesn't really have the economy to sustain this army. If he loses too much, he cannot replace it. He cannot rebuild. Mixu can. Oh, some good biles. Decent trades out of Mixu. He's going for another Ling counterattack. As MindelVK just cleans up his economy. Make sure everything is mining efficiently. He does have a wall and a warp in back at home as well. The Lings, they do nothing. Ah. As Mixu is recovering, he's been droning this entire time. He's slowly saturating his bases. He's catching back up, and finally, MindelVK techs. Second robo and a bay. As for double disruptor production, can MindelVK expand though? Can he take a fourth? I think he can. I do think he can probably take top left. I don't know if Mixu can really stop that from happening. The Biles! Oh, they take down the Prism! Big pickoff. At the same time, oh, the base is taken on the right-hand side instead, and that is going to be cancelled. The reason why I said the left is just because the army was here. Because the army was kind of covering and protecting this location. But alas, MindelVK's fourth base is denied, which means Mixu is still in this. He has a fighting chance. It's not ideal. It's not an ideal position for a Zerg player, but you know, he has a way to win. If he can somehow distract his opponent, he's coming in for a big counterattack. Takes down the cannon, gets into the mineral line. He has to be careful. He can't take a head-on fight though. Does have to respect the Stalker army. Takes down a couple of workers. He denies the fourth base for a second time. Takes down some gateways. Depowers the robo. 6 probes go down. Did I say 6? Couple more. 9 probes. And MindelVK is still stuck on 3 bases. Mixu is pulling off this comeback. Slowly but surely. Mixu now able to keep up with the economy of his opponent. He has a comparable worker count. +2 on the way. Bailing speed as well. Mixu could do with another hatchery, and he's going to be expanding with his main army to make sure he can support it. But he won't be able to, because this is where MindelVK is. That's a cancel on the 5th. At the same time, a big Ling counterattack. Oh my god, how many? We have 3 disruptors. MindelVK can push through. Mixu trying to set up a surround. Oof, big Nova. Takes down 4 Ravagers. Lings do slip into the main base. They're getting some damage done, but there honestly aren't that many probes to kill. Six, maybe 7 probes go down. As we just lift up and drop here at the at the 4th. Meanwhile, MindelVK rotating around. He wants to try to push in towards the most important mining base here of Mixu. And I don't think Mixu can engage. Not with these disruptors. There are so many. There's 5 of them now. Soon to be 4. One of them gets caught out. Oh. And the hatchery goes down. The main army of MindelVK is just superior. As he zones back the army. Zealot Rambai slips into the natural, and ugh. Yeah, MindelVK, he just cannot keep up with this. He's been doing well recovering up until now because he was the one being the aggressor, but now that MindelVK is hitting the field again, like we can see Mixu just crumble under the pressure. It's just too much. Too much Protoss. Too many Stalkers, too many Disruptors. And again, Mixu cannot engage. The only hope that he has is to just keep denying the 4th. Over and over again. Deny the 4th base. That's his chance, but even then, the main army is still terrifying. The Lings, they get caught out. He will go down at the same time. A drop into the main gets cleaned up as well. MindelVK was in position with those charge lots. The Halings, they roll in. They're going for the pros, but alas, they will not connect. MindelVK, he reacts in time. And throughout all of this, Mixu was able to get a Hive. Very impressive. Do you have Hive tech? Can we afford Hive tech, though? We've got 2 Vipers on the way, an Infestor, Adrenal. We're working on it. Like, Vipers are amazing, but there's just so many Disruptors to abduct. There's too much to yoink, Papi. Too much to pull. These Queens are just misrallied a little bit. Do you see Mixu trying to set up a counterattack, trying to force his opponent to turn around, but MindelVK, he will not. He will keep on pushing. There's no need to turn around. He snipes the base. He wants to swallow up this army. His Novas are going off. Big connections as well on the Roach Ravager. Now Mindel is losing workers back at home, but again, he doesn't care. It doesn't matter. Not anymore. As he's breaking through. Aggressively blinking on these Queens. Getting on top of this army. Another big connection here on the Roach Ravager. A good target firing. Oh my god. Very good target firing out of Mixu, but it is not enough. GG gets called, and MindelVK will take game number 1. GG. Now there are 5 of them. I'm glad you caught on. I'm glad. GG, well played. And with that, MindelVK will take the first game. Again, it all came down to the all-in. Remember, it was a 10-gate... It was a 10-gate 3-base all-in out of MindelVK. Pure Blink Stalker army. And as we saw the all-in coming from MindelVK, Mixu had tried to sneak out a Spire and tried to get into Mutas. And of course, that was just too greedy of a move here from Mixu to tech up in that direction, to invest into Mutas when an all-in was coming. It was on Mixu to recognize what was happening, and he was just unable to scout, unable to get a read. Unable to get a read on what MindelVK was doing in time, and he was punished for it. And with that, we have game 1 in the books. GG. GG, well played. So we're getting into game number 2. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Equilibrium, we have the Finnish Zerg player. Currently down in this series, but it's a best of 5. We have plenty of games ahead of us. Representing Berserker Esports, it is Mixu. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the red Protoss player representing Sidestorm Gaming, leading the series 1-0. It is MindelVK. Also, a shout out to Not Enough Minerals in the chat, letting us know some other updates that are going on. Apparently, the other art did take down Cuckoo 2-1, so big shout out there to the other art. Not to be confused with the Polish art. There are 2 arts, but they are spelled differently. One is with all caps, the other a little bit less so, with some lowercase going on. And I think that means that art moves on to a qualifying match. That is going to be art versus Let's double check. That is going to be Arch versus Ashbringer. Oh, another PvP. There's a lot of PvPs. I did notice that there were going to be a lot of PvPs in this qualifier, but that's also why I wanted to dive on our Zerg players when I could, while I had the chance to. As we are getting some other updates as well, but we can go over them later on. Can go over those matches later on when we have a little bit of dead air or free time. For now, Hatch Gas Pool, standard opener here out of Mixu. Nothing too crazy, nothing too wild. Likewise, back at home, MindelVK going for a gate expand into a Cybercore. Everything is looking as it should, and I don't expect anything crazy in the early game between these two players, even though we saw MindelVK go for a 3-base all-in in the previous game. Again, that's kind of what I expect. I expect to see like 3-base aggression, or even 2-base aggression from our Protoss, not 1-base. As we have a Stargate opening. Here we go. The other thing to take note of course, on this map is that there is a gold base, and Mixu, oh my, is going straight for the gold. He's going straight for that third. Bold move here from Mixu. We'll see if he can keep up. Of course, when it comes to MindelVK, he does have quite a lot available here to harass these bases when it comes to Adepts and Oracles as well, as the Stargate is about to finish up. And so far, MindelVK, he has not spotted the 3rd base location. He doesn't know. Not yet. As the Adept is going to threaten a shade into the main. He's just trying to get a read on things. Does check the linear 3rd base, checks the triangular 3rd, and now he heads towards the gold. And Mindel has caught wind of the gold. He knows, Piper, he knows. And interesting, he's going for a Void Ray first once again. Hopefully this time he takes better care of it. The Void Ray did struggle to get damage in game number 1. It did go down very quickly, very early on. But I'm sure this time he will be babysitting it a little bit further here, as it's going to be a Void Ray into an Oracle. Likewise, we have Mixu also fanning out his Lings, just trying to get a read on what exactly is going on. Trying to get a read on where MindelVK is at. As the 3rd base is taken, not as the gold, a much more safer 3rd instead, from Mindel going for the linear 3rd base as his Nexus. And he still hasn't really been able to be too aggressive yet. The Lings are keeping him at bay. First Oracle is moving out, but that first Oracle can't really do too much here. It's really just for scouting more than anything. Mixu has plenty of queens in position. We have 3 queens in the main. We have 1 queen in the sport, the natural, and we have 2 queens at the 3rd. And this Oracle, really more than anything, just trying to get a read on what's going on. Getting an eye on the gases. Getting an eye on the potential lair. As Mixu is just droning on up and working towards roaches. It does catch a drone. Does spot the gases. And alas, confirms the delayed lair here in favor of roaches and just droning. Just really economic or greedy play from Mixu overall. Defending with the bare minimum and not even making that much to attack either. Oh, but behind this, we are setting up for a bit of a timing. We have +1 and charge on the way. MindelVK, once he throws down a Templar Archives, he can hit a timing with charge dots and with Archons as well. There it is. There's that Templar Archives. He is going to be looking to move out momentarily. For now, he's just saturating his bases. But again, once these upgrades kick in, he can push. Which means that Mixu, he's going to be able to take advantage of this gold. This gold will get up and running without much issue at all. Fully saturated, the Oracles have hit the field, they get eyes on some of these roaches, but really Mixu is faking a move out. Mixu is still droning back at home. Getting a 4th, +1 on the way. Ooh, Overlord speed as well, interesting choice out of Mixu. And a Baneley Nest, so Ling Bane Roach Ravager. Very standard mid-game composition out of Mixu. This time he's not being fancy. This time he's not rushing to a spire or anything like that. I appreciate it. And there it is. There's that Warp Prism. As I mentioned before, charge +1 is about to kick in. The Warp Prism is soon to hit the field. I believe we have our first couple of Archons on the way as well. And that is a massive gateway explosion. And MindelVK is soon to be the aggressor. So there are those Archons. Now, can Mixu keep up? Now, thankfully, Mixu, he isn't taking up into a Hydroden or a Spire. Because he's sticking with Lingbane Roach Ravager, he's already focusing on his army. He's drawn up to 73. He's content with his saturation. And now he can focus on nothing but units. And this is when he needs them. Oracles dip in. They're going to get a couple of drones. Nothing too major. I'm just waiting for MindelVK to really pull the trigger. So far, he hasn't. Despite getting... How many gateways does he have? 10. He has 10 gates. There we go. We're warping in 10 zealots at a time. My, oh my. That's a lot of zealots. But we did miss a warp in. Oh, we did. We're supply blocked. That is why. 4 pylons thrown down here for MindelVK. He isn't me banking up quite a number of resources. He's going for some harass instead as he's building up this army. But again, Mixu is about to max out. I think this is hitting too late. I think if you, like, especially when a goal base comes into play, you have to try to punish this earlier on. To allow the Zerg player to take full advantage of it is insane. And now Mixu is just snowballing out of control. And just like that, this 4th base is going to be cancelled. We do manage to get a prism across the map. We do have a massive warp-in available. Zealots are across the map, but back at home, Mixu, he's busting into the natural. And we're going for a base trade? We're just ignoring the army. Zealots into the main and charge out Archon towards the gold. Oh god, Mixu, the Baileys are rolling in. Up, up. Looks like they won't quite make it in. And MindelVK is getting a lot of damage done, to be fair. He does cripple the economy, takes down 22 workers, but at the same time, Lings are just wreaking havoc in the natural base of Mindel. And the army of Mixu has turned around, and we can clean this up. Plenty of roaches. And not enough to support these Archons. The Archons, they're breaking through, but Mixu is just buying time, making additional roaches, coming together for a full surround. And he will clean Mixu up. And now, sorry, he will clean MindelVK up. they both start with M, papi. Aye, aye, aye. We have our creep highway. The queens are welding across the map as well. And MindelVK, what does he have left? He's got 4 Archons, a couple of zealots, 3 bases. It's not enough, papi. It is not enough. The gold more than paid for itself. And Mixu wasn't too fancy with it. Again, like, I do think that some players, after they take this base, they're like, yo, I can, like, go into, like, fast lurkers or into mutas or something. Rush into hive, go ultras. Like, no, just Lingbane Roach Ravager. We're all good. We're gonna chill out, max out, and move that once we have 200 supply. Mixu is bleeding out some queens. So he does have to be careful. Mindel trying to recover, attempting to even. But I appreciate this. Mixu is droning. Yeah. As long as he's able to deny the 4th base, Mixu, he can get away with just droning, saturating his bases, retaking the gold, or even just taking another base instead. There's nothing pressuring Mixu to end the game. And I do think that there's a lot of potential for Mixu to overextend and give MindelVK a good fight. Mixu is going to be careful. Does have to be careful here as he attempts to pull MindelVK apart. Imagine art versus art in ESL Masters. I don't think we've had the luxury of casting art versus art. Unfortunately. I don't think we've been able to cast hero versus hero either. There is something that we did cast. What was it? I want to say like in an amateur tournament, we had 2 players with similar names. Long time ago. Got to see a Zealot run by coming in, just getting a bit of damage done, don't get me wrong, but Mixu, he's about to max out. And again, all he has to do is just make sure that no 4th base is taken. MindelVK is stuck on a 3-base economy. He does have a lot of Archons, and he's now taking a 4th, but that's going to be the cue for Mixu to push in. Mixu, he's ready for it. So we have reached that max point. Hive is on the way as well, thankfully. You know, Mixu is not resting on his laurels. He is taking up even further. He's double expanding, taking more bases. His economy is a little bit lackluster and some good force fields. Able to slice up these roaches. But from here, like, MindelVK, he would have to do something crazy like, I don't know, going to Sky Toss or something, right? Like, just tech up in a different direction to catch Mixu off guard. Staying on a ground-based army like this, I mean, it's solid, don't get me wrong. But I don't know if there's really any pushing potential with this. So we have some Zealot Ramas getting across the map. They're getting damage done. You know, the roaches, they push them forward. Some decent biles, some better force fields. As MindelVK takes a better fight. Oh my god. He's able to trade more efficiently. He's breaking through. Meanwhile, Mixu had to pull back and clean up some of those harassing zealots. Spire is on the way. I think that's going to be for a greater Spire. I imagine Mixu wants to work towards Broodlords, which would be ideal against a Archon heavy composition. I think Lurkers could also work, but it's kind of risky because with Immortals and Archons, like, this army can push through a Lurker line, especially a low amount of Lurkers. So it can be risky. Don't blame Mixu. Oh, that is, oh no, that's, we have casted that. Egg versus, yeah. Eggs versus egg. La batalla de los huevos, papi. La batalla de los huevos. Yes, we have casted that. There we go, there we go. Plenty of times, actually. As the Colombian eggs versus the Argentinian egg. Beautiful. It's been so long. It's been a very long time, actually. As here we go, MindelVK just once again engaging with the army. Gonna be Mixu trying to pull him apart. Trying to drag him a little bit over towards the other side. MindelVK, he has successfully gotten the 4th base up and running, though. I mentioned earlier that the only goal that Mixu had was to deny the 4th, and he has not been able to do so, which means MindelVK is maxing. He is actually clawing his way back into this. Against a roach-heavy army like this, MindelVK can trade quite efficiently. Banelings are rolling in, the Void Ray is going ham on the Roach Ravager. Corruptors are on the way, Greater Spire as well. But Mixu's losing quite a lot here. The Zealot Rumbai getting out of control. And here we go, the main army pushing through the center. Good force field, catching the Roach Ravager, catching an Infestor as well. Mixu, he's bleeding out far too much. I thought this was in the bag, Papi. I was reading chat. I was like, yeah, no, look, nothing crazy is going on. You know, we're just macroing here. But really, MindelVK, he got away with murder. He's oversaturated, and he could do with, of course, transferring his workers over. But MindelVK is looking to snowball out of control. We do have 6 Broodlords in production. That is really the hopes and dreams here of Mixu in those Broodlords. MindelVK is going to be rotating around. Takes down the gold. Going for another hatchery. But the Broodlords, they just now finished, just in time. Decent storms, but as soon as we see the Broodlords, MindelVK, he does have to respect them. He has to back off. Oh my god, as I say that, are they too exposed? The storms, once again, connecting. The Archons, they're trying to close the gap. They're trying to close the distance. Oh my god, how many storms do we have left? We have maybe another 2? Another 1. As MindelVK is not able to get on top of the army. Another storm is thrown down just to zone away Mixu. Wait, there we go. As MindelVK, he has to back off. And as we take stock, Mixu is on 3 bases. He's barely mining, actually. Mixu does not have an economy, but he does have Broodlords. And he's looking to catch these High Templar. Up! Gets 1. Does get 1 High Templar in the end. Clutch transfuse. So far, Mixu, he hasn't lost a Broodlord yet. This is suddenly very close. Likewise, no Sky Toss. There were Void Waves earlier. Do we still have them? No, we do not. We have a Stargate that we could try to take advantage of. MindelVK has a bank. He has a lot of gas. But he's running out of minerals. He needs another base. But how can he expand with these Broodlords sharking around? Speaking of, roaches do catch some of those zealots. It looks like instead of going for Sky Toss, which again is a bit too expensive and it's a little bit too slow as well to get into, Mixu is going for Blink Stalkers. Sorry, MindelVK is going for Blink Stalkers, and Blink isn't done yet. Still a couple of seconds off. Blink now kicking in. We have an Oracle across the map getting 10 drones. Oh, getting quite a lot actually. Corruptors, they have to turn back around. They will shut down this Oracle. At the same time, now with Blink Stalkers, we could try to collapse on this army, but some big piles. We get 1. We get 2 Broodlords in the end. Storms as well. The Fungals, they lock down the Stalkers. This is still very neck and neck. But the Stalker count is getting lower and lower. There we go, we're warping in 8 Stalkers at a time. How many Broodlords do we have? 4. There are 4 Broodlords left. Okay, if they go down, that is it. That is what's keeping Mixu in this game. 4 more Broodlords in production. 8 in total. If we can get there. Decent Fungal. A chain Fungal on the Stalkers, but we blink on forward. Nonetheless, we get another Broodlord. But again, we have 4 more finishing up. MindelVK is bleeding out a little bit too much. Oh no! Oh, another High Templar goes down. Oh my god. The storms, they're crazy, Papi. They're cracked. As MindelVK is being forced into a corner. But the Stalkers, they come in once again from behind. They get another Broodlord and an Infestor as well. The High Templar, they get caught out. Only 3 left. We cannot throw them away. Goal base being taken though. Oh, these High Templar are so exposed. They're so vulnerable. But in the end, MindelVK is going to back off. It's going to calm down. And Mixu is trying to squeeze out a couple more Infestors. He's still on 5 Broodlords as well. And I still want to give the edge to MindelVK. Like, this is so on a knife's edge. Either we get some good storms. One does get thrown down. Or some good Fungals as well on these Stalkers. And there it is, the storms though as well, and the Roach Ravager, and the Roach Ravager army is melting. So the Stalkers. God, so many Stalkers just went down. Without them, we cannot close the distance. We cannot get on top of these Broodlords. Both players taking a lot of hits. Both players sustaining a lot of damage, but again, we're still warping in 9 Stalkers at a time, and I think that's what matters most, is that the Broodlord count is not getting any higher. Oh, the Biles! Oh my, they get every single High Templar. 0 Storms remaining. Big Biles here from Mixu. They were insane. Biles once again connecting, but it looks like the Protoss may still have too much. It's so close. In the end, the Roaches coming to support. MindelVK cannot engage. There's still 5 Broodlords left. He's crazy. He goes for it. He's gonna get 1. 4 Broodlords remaining. And we have, again, 9 more Stalkers coming into support. And with those 9 Stalkers, we can get another Broodlord. 3 Broodlords remaining. And MindelVK, I do think he has done it at this point. No more spellcasters. It comes down to nothing but Stalkers, Roaches, and Broodlords, and that's gonna be it. That's gonna be all she wrote. Mixu, he had this game, Papi. He had it. It was crazy. It was like on 5 bases against the 3 of MindelVK, and somehow, some way, Mindel holds, he survives, he claws his way back in, takes down every single Broodlord. Mixu is down to Roaches and Lings remaining, and yo, he does land a fungal! He gets on top of the army! Oh my god, he cleans up the Immortals, a big overextension from MindelVK. This is still anyone's game. We're down to Zealots versus Roachling. MindelVK overextending, losing his entire army. Ay, ay, ay. He just got a little bit too excited. A little bit too cavalier. Now, with this goal base, though, MindelVK, he can still warp in. He can still sustain himself. I can't say the same for Mixu. That's the difference here. Is that Mixu may have held. He may have cleaned up the army, but if given time, MindelVK will be the first to muster up another force to counterattack. That's exactly what's happening. We already have 2 more Archons. We already have 2 more Immortals. Another base is being taken, and Mixu just cannot touch him. He cannot stop this. Not anymore. And because Mixu doesn't have any proper mining bases, he can't afford to go back into Broodlords, to go into any other form of tech. We have 1 Broodlord in production. That's all we got, Papi. That's all we got. Now, as long as MindelVK is able to stabilize, he just needs to calm down, and there it is. GG gets called. He sees the mining gold. And MindelVK takes game number 2. GG. Ah. Oh my god. GG, well played. That was crazy. That was so back and forth. There were moments for both players. Mixu initially was, again, in the driver's seat. He had the better economy. He had control of the map. And then things quickly swung out of control. Mixu's answer to that was to rush into a hive and rush into Broodlords. And they did well for him. They kept him alive for quite some time. They gave him a little momentum. Things swung back in favor of Mixu's favor. Once he got those Broodlords out, but we saw that the economy of MindelVK is what really mattered most, because he could afford to warp in wave after wave of Stalkers, whereas Mixu could not afford to replace his Broodlords. In the end, it did just kind of come down to the economic situation of our 2 players, where one player could afford some losses, the other couldn't. And in the end, MindelVK did snowball out of control. GG, well played. And suddenly, we are getting into game number 3. Whew. Oh my god. Here we go. And it looks like we're just getting everything together here. Getting our players together as well. The casters are all filing in. It looks like some of the other qualifying matches have ended just because we have we're being joined by some of the other community casters, other English community casters, and And let's see if we can catch up. It looks like we have another qualified player. Nikic took down Fiant 2-0 and took down Rostock 3-0. Oh my, very impressive. Nikic qualifying for the closed qualifiers. Any other update? Art took down Ashbringer 3-0. Wow, very dominant performance there out of Art as well, taking down Cuckoo and Ashbringer. Very nicely done. The other Art, of course, Deca 3-0 Jomek. I am a little bit surprised. I do rate Jomek a little bit higher. Maybe some recency bias just because we cast a little bit more Jomek on the channel. But Deca takes down Jomek 3-0 and does make it into the closed qualifier. Very nicely done. Looks like Aristri versus Rom is still ongoing. We have our own series that's still ongoing as well. And Arrowfire versus Power. Also mid-series in that best of 5 as Power took down Fighting Frog. Not something that I was expecting. I'm not too familiar with Power. I don't really know him too much as a player. I expected Fighting Frog to be a sure thing to make it to face off against Arrowfire, but yeah, shout out to Power. Not too familiar with him as a player, but is doing quite well for himself. And here we go. We are getting into potentially the final game of the series. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Hardlead, we have our red Protoss player representing Storm Gaming, leading the series 2-0, one game away from qualifying for the closed qualifiers of ESL Masters Winter, the European Regionals. It is MindelVK. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the Finnish Zerg player representing Berserker Esports. He needs to fight back here and now. It is Mixu. I see some people in the chat. Cristiano, papi. Ay, el mismísimo. Este Cristiano. ¿Qué tal, papi? ¿Cómo estás? Ah, el hermoso. Bienvenidos. I've been seeing you on Instagram, on the Instas, papi. Good to see you after a long time. Oh. I don't think I've heard of MindelVK before. He's been around for a while. MindelVK, he's been a very middle of the road player for many years. We are fortunate enough to cast quite a lot of Mindel in our own events, in Sparkling Tuna Cups, for example, and in OSC King of the Hill. He is quite active in the online tournament scene, and he has been on the rise. I mentioned before that he was able to make it to the finals of a Sparkling Tuna Cup a couple of weeks ago, faced off against Mia Micah. But I do agree in the end. In my mind, MindelVK is still, again, middle of the pack, and it feels like Mixu is more on the up and up. I know he's been like a rising star for a couple of years now, to be fair. But I do rate Mixu a little bit higher. So very impressive that MindelVK is out here up 2-0. Very impressive performance so far. But what I will say, something that isn't reflected by the score, and if you weren't here for game 1, maybe you wouldn't know either, but these games have not been easy. These have not been... Oh my god. We have a forge. Poppy. But these games haven't been easy. These games have been very close between these two players. Game 1 and Game 2 could have gone in either direction. They have gone the distance here. And even though, of course, MindelVK came out on top, I do think that, again, the score itself isn't really reflective of how intense these games have been. Very close, very close. As we do have a Link Scout coming in, and I'm a little bit in shock as to this fast forge. We are rushing into +1, and Mixu will scout this. This is going to be scouted. It is going to be confirmed. I'm curious as to what we kind of piece together here. I'm not really too familiar with players that just rush into +1 like this. So obviously, there's going to be a big timing, and I just realized there's a Hydra. Oh. Hello. I have not noticed that. Do we have something down here? We do! Another Hydra. Hello there. Oh. It's like Nidus Worms connecting them. Yeah, I did. I imagine this is going to be a charge all-in? Question mark? Or I'm feeling charge. Maybe Blink as the Twilight Council's thrown down. I'm just a little bit caught off guard. So a lot's going on here. Third base is being taken. MindelVK, because he delayed his Twilight Council and because he delayed his Stargate, he has no map control right now, and he has no scouting potential. There's no oracles, there's no hallucination scouts. We can't be we don't really have any adepts on the field either. This feels really risky overall. Obviously Mixu is playing standard. He's going hatch gas pool into an evo chamber. This should be for +1 melee, but yeah, MindelVK is playing very blind, very yeah, in the dark. There it is, behind this plus, so we have +1 and Blink on the way. I guess we're going to be hitting a strong +2 timing, as we can try and go right into that afterwards. There it is, +2 is on the way. And this will be lined up with Blink. Okay, you have my attention, Mixu? MindelVK, you have my attention. Behind this, we have a 5-minute lair. Gases are being taken. There's that +1 melee. We should be working towards a Roach Warren as well. Mixu just opening up pretty standard. Again, should be Lingbane Roach Ravager as the composition of choice. Nothing wrong with it. Very solid. Can be quite flexible as well and maneuverable here in the mid game. The question becomes, how many gateways? Our upgrades are on the horizon, and I'm feeling a 3-base all-in. We got a lot of sentries, Pappy. A lot of sentries. Gateways are being thrown down. And I feel like more gateways are upon us. There we go. 4 additional gateways in addition to the 4 that we already have. That's going to be 8 gates in total. We could even go up to 10. MindelVK has been quite fond of 10 gates. And it's all or nothing here for MindelVK. Mixu has to be very careful not to tech up even further. No! He has to be careful not to take up further. This is what happened in game 1. In game 1, Mixu tried to go into mutas and he died trying. Spire is thrown down. Hopefully he doesn't bank up resources, because there it is, 6 gates on the way. It is a 10-gate, 3-base all-in out of MindelVK. And we cannot afford mutas right now. We need nothing but Lingbane Roach Ravager if we want to survive, if we want to defend. Emphasis on the Ravagers because we have a lot of sentries and a lot of force field potential. Oh boy. Not like this. Mixu, he does have a bank. It looks like he is saving resources, but there we go. Roaches are now on the way. The army has been spotted. Seeing all these sentries is a big tell. You do not have this many sentries without good reason. There it is. Spine crawlers are being thrown down. Mixu realizes how much danger he's in. We have spines on the way. Our 2 spine crawlers going to be enough though, because here comes the all-in. Again, we can warp in at 10 units at a time. And now we've got 5 on the way. First spine crawler, that's a kill, not a cancel. Good force fields once again. The biles, they will not connect. The sentries are exposed. Up. The sentries are looking very exposed. The force fields are still looking pretty good though, as the Lings are cleaned up. But Mixu, he's buying time. More reinforcements are on the way. The biles once again connect. They take down the sentries. Only 2 sentries are left. We started with like 10. Every sentry goes down. MindelVK is losing control of the situation. He's losing control of this base. Mindel being forced back, and Mixu, he is holding. Yeah, now we transition. +3. Gases. Charge. This is going to be a rough transition from MindelVK, and you can see Mixu, he is about to max out. He's on 72 workers. He's maxing out. Infestation Pit's on the way. Baneling Nest as well. He canceled the Spire. Let's go. Recognizing what was going on. And now Mixu is getting ready for his own counterattack. Now, we have seen MindelVK come back from this position before, but usually he gets damage done. And right now, MindelVK is in a rough position. Prism is coming in, slipping into the main. But the queens are here, and the Prism is forced out. Mixu going for his own counterattack at the same time. MindelVK out of position. Lings, they get on top of the shield battery. Gets on top of the mineral line as well. Not too many probes are going down. Good defense here from Mindel. Vappy. As Mixu just pushes through the center here, and again, with a maxed out army, he should have enough to bust into the natural or the third or whatever base he wants to. Yeah, the Biles, they will connect in the mineral line, taking down the shield battery, and MindelVK is up against the wall. And it looks like finally, oh my god, no, the Zealots! They crash into the Banelings. And they will go down. I was going to say, finally, Mixu is going to be putting a point on the board. He's going to be fighting back in this series. He's getting surrounded, though. He is taking a bit of an awkward engagement, but regardless, he should still have enough. He should have more than enough. The Stalkers, I mean, they are +2. They're about to have +3. They're fighting well. And Mindel hasn't lost too many probes. No shot. He's holding. He chases down some of those Ravagers. Biles do some friendly fire. Oh, but has a MindelVK overextended. The Changelings. Gonna be keeping MindelVK at bay. Mixu has to back off, has to consolidate his army, remax, rebuild. Hive is done, Adrenal's on the way, +1 range. Now Mixu should be in the driver's seat here, and he should be denying this fourth. He's breaking down these rocks, and MindelVK, he shouldn't be able to hold on to this position. Like, he's kind of surviving now, but he shouldn't be able to establish this fourth and get his economy going. Nova goes off! Up! Decent connection. Another Nova goes off as well. A couple of Ravagers go down, but we needed more than that. So Mixu once again is pushing towards that third base. At the same time, Zealot Runway does take down a mineral line, but the probes are stuck. There's nowhere to go. The probes. There's nowhere to run, and they will go down. Big connections in that third base. The economy of MindelVK in shambles. He's chasing down some of these Ravagers. Again, +3 Stalkers. They hit hard. They do hit hard. Now, what I will say, because of that Zealot run by, Mixu's economy isn't ideal either. He's on 64 workers. He's on 4 bases. Doesn't have a lot of gases either. He is remaxing, and he's getting into all these disruptors. One disruptor goes down. He's gonna try and get a second as well. Oh my god, as we are getting some juicy connections. But it's not gonna be enough. It should not be enough. I'm saying a lot of shoulds because I'm a little bit concerned. As the overcharged Z-Power, GG gets called, and Mixu does it. It took a while. His opponent refused to die. But Mixu takes a game. And we have a series. GG. GG, well played. He takes game number 3. And we have a back and forth. And that is all I ask for, Papi. That's all I ever ask for. A back and forth. Give me more games. GG, well played. We are working our way towards game number 4. Now, of course, MindelVK is still ahead in this series. He's still leading the series, and he's still 1 game away from qualifying. But Mixu, he's fighting back. Now, a lot of this is, of course, down to the fact that MindelVK did go for a 3-base all-in. And again, 10 gateways, 3 bases, no additional gases. And the fact that he was a little bit careless with his army. If you remember, he pushed in with a mass amount of sentries, and really that was the backbone of his army. That was how he was going to pull off this all-in, but he lost so many of them to Biles, to the Roaches as well. That initial push, that first push was a little bit lackluster, and MindelVK bled out too many spellcasters, too many sentries, and just like that, Mixu, he held. On top of that, Mixu was able to recognize what was happening, and he cancelled his Spire, doubled down on Roach Ravager, and did shut down the all-in. And now, is this the beginning of a comeback? Is this the beginning here of Mixu's comeback story? I hope so. I want an ace match. I want a game 5. Gibt. Is he Mindel of the pack? And before I get too ahead of myself, a big shout out to Aistan in the chat. Gracias, papi, gracias. Bienvenidos, bienvenidos. Thank you so much for gifting a sub to Marky Mark. Thank you, thank you. Do appreciate it. Much love, always, always. Aistan, a big supporter of the channel as we are getting into game number 4 and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Alkioni. We have the red Protoss player, one game away from qualifying for the closed qualifiers of the European regionals. Representing Sidestorm Gaming, it is MindelVK. And spawning in the top right hand corner, we have his opponent putting a point on the board in that last game, fighting back in this series, fighting back hard. We have the Finnish Zerg player representing Berserker Esports, it is Mixu. Oh, let's go. Yo, I see Migs in the chat. I saw Dolan in the chat earlier as well. The Ducklings, papi. Quack, quack. So Dolan in the chat. I saw Migs as well. Migs, he needs your energy. Help him push some P. Ay. As so far, it's going to be a hatch gas pool opener here from Mixu. Standard opener is what we expect to be seeing. And we'll see if he can keep up with MindelVK. Again, my eyes are on Mindel here when it comes to what he brings to the table. Last game, I apologize, it wasn't just about the 10-gate 3-base all-in, but the fact that he rushed into a Forge of all things, into a Forge, into Fast Plus 2. Such a quirky build, something that I don't really get to see too often. Didn't end up working in the end, but I can see it having potential, definitely. But I don't see MindelVK doing that again this series. We're not rushing into a Forge. We're not rushing into +2 again. Meanwhile, this pylon positioning is interesting to me. It's behind the mineral line. This looks like a Twilight Council opener, but we'll see if he throws down just a hidden Stargate. And there it is. Stargate is thrown down next to the gas geyser, not behind the mineral line. Ooh, and we have a standard opener from the Protoss as well. Standard, man. Likewise, Mindel, he delays the third base for a moment there, gets eyes on it, but the third is taken from Mixu, and MindelVK will just confirm that. Mindel does confirm the base before he backs the hell off and gets out of there. He's giving Mixu, he needs the shaft, Wappy, he needs, oh god. Where's Asher when you need him? Este Asher. Oh. As it is going to be a Void Ray first. Okay. So this is something that MindelVK has been quite fond of. We've seen it, I think it was in Game 1 and Game 2. Not in Game 3, obviously, but in Game 1 and Game 2, we have seen these Void Ray firsts out of MindelVK just to shut down these Overlords. It should be an Oracle behind this. But what I love about a player that, starts a trend is that they can break that trend and kind of lure their opponent into a false sense of security. With this Void Ray first, he could throw down a second Stargate, could go into something completely different, and try to use expectations to his advantage. As the Overlord is going to go down. Behind this, it is an Oracle though. Okay, we're not doing anything too crazy. We're not rushing into Skytoss or anything like that. It's going to be an Oracle follow-up, as we have been seeing here from MindelVK. And likewise, Mixu is just droning up as well. Is turning back around with his Overlords. Is going to be keeping them safe. Is going to make sure they don't go down to that Void Ray. At the same time, a big Link counterattack. Can he get an Adept? He cannot. He gets a Probe, but doesn't get the Adepts. Oh. As +1 melee is started. Again, Mixu just getting fully saturated. The Void Ray hasn't achieved too much. It killed one Overlord, but hasn't gotten much else. It looks like it was a bit of a misrally, accidentally clicking on the rocks. It's okay. Once again, on the hunt for more value, for more damage. Behind this, lair on the way, around 4-minute 40 or 50-ish lair timing. That's not too bad. We have a Roach Horn as well for Roach speed. They are lined up with each other. Oracle dips into the third base, but the queens are in position and only one drone goes down. So very minimal losses here for our Zerg player. Meanwhile, MindelVK, he has his follow-up. It is going to be a Twilight Council and a Forge. A standard follow-up here for Mindel. And we'll keep an eye on his gateway counts. We'll keep an eye on his third base and his saturation to see if he commits to an all-in again. You know, MindelVK's got a little bit of breathing room to work with. Like, he's ahead in this series. He can afford to be a little bit careless or be a little bit wild and crazy with his builds, as we saw in the last game. Oracle comes in from behind. 6 drones go down. Really good target firing here out of MindelVK. Did I say 6? 10 workers. 1 Oracle did fall in the main. But we are getting damage done. 12 drones. Initially, Mixu was doing a great job keeping up, but alas, he is pulled apart here by Mindel. 5th base on the way is scouted. Here is our gateway explosion, and how many gates? Here we go. Gateways are on the way. Gases are not being taken. So far, 7 gateways, so not too bad. And gases are being taken here, so MindelVK is not going for a 3-base all-in. He should be, with these additional gases, he should be taking up. He should be working towards Robo and Colossus. And there it is. Robotics facility is now on the way. Alongside another gateway. Oh my god. Wait, oh, Jesus. Papi. Interesting. Okay, so Mixu just scouted. And Mixu, he saw an extra gas. After the Lings did leave, we throw down 3 more gateways. This is, once again, looking like an all-in out of MindelVK. He's aware of the bases that have been taken, and he's going to be rotating over towards the right-hand side. It's another... Well, this is looking to be another 3-base 10-gate all-in, but no, never mind. He's taking a 4th. Okay. He's going to be taking a 4th base. He still hasn't teched up into a Robotics Bay. No Disruptors or Colossi or Archons. So I'm getting some mixed signals. We're just heavily reliant on a gateway-based composition. Well, as the Oracles, they find more damage. There was no Spore. Mixu being punished for his greed. 7 more drones go down. Aye, aye, aye. Now, Mixu, he did get away with a Spire this time. He's been trying to this entire series. He's been trying to get into mutas, but he has been unsuccessful. Maybe finally, he can pull it off. For now, 3 mutas are on the way. Again, Mixu's economy is a little bit lackluster just because of how many losses he's been sustaining. So that's why he can't really afford too many mutas. And Mindel is getting this 4th base up and running. We have site defense on the way as well, as we are pushing out. Again, still just gateways. It's like a Swarm Toss style, very Haas-esque. The mutas, they get caught out. We only made 3 mutas, and now we are down to 1. The investment into the Spire did not pay off, and now here we go. MindelVK is pushing on out with his massive army. Oh, the sentries do go down. Once again, they are the first to fall. Stalkers, they try to break in. Charge is on the way. Oof. A decent piles, and we're going for the Prism. War Prism does take a bile to the face, but only 1. And Mindel, he can just keep on pushing. He shaves off all the links. He's going for the Roaches. You can see Mindel just reposition his Prism. Charge on the horizon, +2 as well, which means he can soon reinforce with Zealots. Oh. Does have to be careful. Behind this, we have that 1 muta in the main base, but alas, it's not really achieving too much. Mixu, he is starting to snowball out of control, though. He's pushing through. He is getting on top of the Stalkers. And again, I'm just surprised here. Like, we're getting up to 4-base saturation, but we're not getting into like Colossus or Immortals or Archons. MindelVK is just heavily reliant here on these Stalkers, and he's bleeding out. He's losing too many. And you can see Mixu starting to snowball out of control in terms of supply. Just hammering down that Archie, the Lings as well. Nothing but roaches and lings. Gold base is being taken. Now we have a Templar Archives, but again, it feels late. He's gonna try to push through, and he will force a cancel. Does deny the gold. But again, it feels like MindelVK is playing on a knife's edge. As Lings attempt to go for a run by, the wall is a wall. Roaches are caught out. Good moment here for Mindel. Does catch a pack of roaches. Lings are forced back as well. Mixu going back into muta production. Meanwhile, MindelVK going for Storm. Okay. Is working towards Storm. Charge is now done. A decent roach run by. Getting 4 workers. Likewise, Mixu going to be rotating over towards the left-hand side. Trying to pull apart his opponents. At the same time, Mindel going for the gold. But Mixu, he could just choose to ignore the army, but okay, he turns around. He does turn back around. The gold base will not get up and running. Mixu, he's been maxed for a while. He wants to make use of this army, but alas, he just can't really catch these stalkers. Not yet. But he's setting up a surround. He's trying to cut off this army here. And if he can catch these stalkers, that's going to be game. Ugh. Decent blink. But the Lings are able to catch up. So many stalkers are going down. And that is the army here for Mindel. Back in the natural base, the mutas, they have revealed themselves. Workers are going down. And Mixu is pulling Mindel apart. 13 probes are falling. The natural base, there's no mining going on whatsoever. And the 4th base has been broken. Again, just such an odd playstyle here from Mindel. Just not very tech heavy at all. Despite having a decent economy to get into it if you wanted to. Just pure blink stalkers, Poppy. Let's go. And some High Templar, of course. High Templar finally hitting the field. Mindel reclaiming control of his 4th. Do we have any mutas left? We do not. The mutas did go down in the fight. Do you have a wall set up? No shield battery. Wings once again looking to push in. Mindel is in position. Up! Oh, Void Ray does go down. But we have storms! Oh my god, massive storms on the army. And I feel like at this point, Mixu, he needs to think a little bit further ahead. Things are busting in. Oh my god. They're getting a lot done. They sniped the Cyber Core. So Mindel has an infestation, but he's working towards infestors, which will help. But at the moment, Mindel, he's the one with the higher base count. He's the one with the map control. With all this creep, he can expand over towards the left-hand side, and he can also start taking up as well into a hive. Alas, for the time being, he's sticking with Lingbane Roach Ravager. The hive is done. We don't have Adrenal. We're working towards Corruptors. We could get into Broodlords again. Up! That's a failing run by. Does crash in. Takes down 14 probes. Mindel's own economy isn't amazing either. 66 workers. 3 base saturation. But the wall is not a wall, and we are getting more damage done. MindelVK out of position. Oh my god. Immortal gets caught out. More production gets depowered. 24 probes go down. And this is the damage that Mixu's been looking for. Again, Mindel, he just refuses to rotate. He refuses to leave. He's paranoid about a push. Oh. 40 workers go down. Mindel's being forced all in at this point. And to be fair, he's got a beefy army. If you look at the army supplies, Mindel, he is up in army supply. And what's he pushing into? There's no Greater Spire. We have Corruptors on the way, and they're not going to help. A Hydrogen gets thrown down for lurkers, but again, that is nowhere near being done. We have a wall of spines, but Mindel, he is breaking on through. Infestor goes down. Do we have any more Infestors? We do not. And again, Mindel is all in. And I don't know if he can be stopped. He's got a terrifying army. He breaks through the gold. He breaks through the base on the right-hand side. And now he's pushing for the third. Oh, the Corrupt, I mean, the Corrupt is not adding anything anyway. But the Corrupt is going down. We have a Greater Spire on the way, but this is a late Greater Spire. By the time it finishes, we may just not have an army anymore. Decent Fungals, but better Storms. Oh my god. As again, Mindel is just snowballing out of control. Pushing on forward. Has to be careful not to overextend. Biles do not connect with the High Templar. And we are getting on top of the army once again. Mixu, he had a decent start to this game, but GG gets called. MindelVK breaks on through, and he will take the series 3-1, qualifying for ESL Masters Winter Europe. The closed qualifier. GG, well played. Congratulations to MindelVK. Congratulations. Again, such a quirky playstyle. It just felt so all in. It felt so committed there. And of course, in the end, I mean, he was forced all in, right? Like, there was just no way for Mindel to keep up with all the economic damage that was being done. Mixu was pulling Mindel apart. But my biggest fear was the lack of tech. The lack of tech that Mixu had behind it, right? There was no Greater Spire. There was no Lurkers. He was stuck on Ling Bane, Roach Ravager. And the army of Mindel was becoming terrifying with Storm, with Archons, with his Blinkstalker army with +3 as well. And he had just amassed a death ball of a Protoss army, moved out across the map. And again, Mixu could not stop him, could not stop the push. GG, well played. Congratulations to Mindel. My condolences to Mixu. I'm a big fan of Mixu myself. Much love. You know, he's one of Mix's boys, one of his boys, and I wish Mixu the best of luck tomorrow, because even though we are reaching the end of this qualifier, even though we're reaching the end of this broadcast, there is going to be a second qualifier being held tomorrow for all the regions, for Europe, for America, and for Asia as well. So there is going to be a second chance for these players to make it into the closed qualifier and to earn some of that money. So best of luck to all the players that didn't quite make it through today. Players like Mixu, players like Trifax, and many others as well. !B in the chat if you guys wish to have a look at the bracket yourselves, because I believe that was the final series. And it was the final series. So just to wrap things up, our qualified players tonight, are MindelVK. From the top, we have Rom taking down Aristery 3-2. It went to the ace match. Oh my god. Rom takes down Aristery and Nicaract. I did not expect Rom to pop off like this. I did not expect him to reach such heights. So very well done here to Rom. Very unexpected, taking down Aristery and Nicaract. Shout out to Deka. Did give him a shout out earlier for 3-0ing Jomek. Shout out to Art for 3-0ing Rodzin. We were able to cast and cover that series again. A very back and forth PvP. Was a lot of fun. Very explosive PvP is maybe a better way to put it. A lot of purification neighbors. Shout out to the other Arts as well for taking down Ashbringer 3-0 and Cuckoo 2-1 as well. Likewise, Snockstar. Oof. Polish Zerg player took down Hates Me. Snockstar, fun fact, he was he qualified 2 hours ago. That was a fast best of 5 ZvZ. That was over in like 10 minutes. It's crazy. Snockstar, he was the first to qualify, making it through. And Nikic with a 3-0 over Rostock, and Arrogfire with a 3-0 over Power as well. GG, well played. And that wraps up our European coverage. This is our second broadcast of the day, by the way. A couple of hours ago we casted the Asia qualifier, then we had like an hour break, an hour and a half break, and then bam, we were live here with the European qualifier. And fun fact, in 1.5 hours, in just under 1.5 hours, we are going to be live once again on this channel with the Americas qualifiers. Oh boy, oh boy. We did see a couple of them tuning in. We saw Parker Mike earlier. We saw Cristianox as well. Shout out to Cristiano. Cristiano Ronaldo, papi. Shout out to Vindicta. We saw Vindicta. We saw Dolan. Yeah, of course, much love in the chat. And we wish you all the best in the qualifiers. I think Vindicta is actually invited into the closed qualifier, right? Let me just double check. Let me confirm. Let us see. Just quickly checking the Wikipedia page of the Americas qualifiers, and yes, oh, both Dolan and Vindicta, they have been, and Eric as well. Let's go. Oh, and Patty, the Ducklings, papi, all the Ducklings. We got Eric, we got Dolan, we got Vindicta, we got Patty Mac, all the ex-Ducklings as well. They have been invited into the closed qualifier, so they don't have to worry. They don't have to worry about the open qualifier, thankfully. Parker Mike does. Best of luck, Paquito. Best of luck. But yeah, in an hour and a half, we're gonna be live once again. I actually may leave the stream on. It's, yeah, just because, why not? What am I going to turn it off and turn it back on in an hour? I don't have to use the PC. It's fine. So yeah, 1 hour and 23 minutes. Americas, papi, Americas. So we're almost done. We're 2/3 of the way through before we wrap everything up. Fun fact, we are the only casters that are covering every region. We were the only casters to cover Asia, which was a little bit sad at the time. I was like, what the hell? what's going on? Where's everyone else? So shout out to I think Rotterdam and Wardy casted the European qualifiers alongside us. I think, question mark. So at least we had some extra English coverage for Europe, but when it came to Asia, we were the only ones, which was a little bit sad, and hopefully we are not the only ones for the Americas qualifiers. That has happened before. Fun fact, that I think it was it last season or last year where like we were the only English cast. I should specify English because there was also Horace casting in Spanish and I think Cosmos in Portuguese or in Brazilian. But I remember we were also the only ones for the Americas, maybe last season or the season before that. So yeah, hopefully we can get some more English coverage going on from some of the other community casters. Looking at you, Roddy and Wardy. Hopefully. As we are just gonna be wrapping things up here, and yeah, I guess I'll leave the stream on. I guess that makes sense. Yeah. We'll leave it on. Of course, I have to like update all the titles and the overlays and everything, but yeah, we're gonna be back soon TM. Fun fact, the sun is rising. We were live when the sun went down. And now we're live when the sun goes up. It is 6:40 a.m. in the morning. The cast started at 3 in the morning. We're gonna keep on going. Let's go. Yeah, with that, we are gonna be heading off. So again, hope you all enjoyed yourselves. And if you are only interested in the the European regional qualifiers, then we're gonna be back tomorrow in 24 hours with the second open qualifier. Meanwhile, I'm gonna be heading off. I'm gonna go to the bathroom. I'm gonna stretch and I'll make some tea. My throat was hurting a little bit. I'll make some tea, and in an hour we'll be back. We will be back. So enjoy the Brood War OST. See you soon. Of course, if you enjoyed the broadcast, if you want more CranKy Duckling action, !socials. !socials in the chat. If you want links to our Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Discord. Again, we have been casting for many years on this channel. So if you're interested, if you enjoy, follow us for some more content, for some more CranKy Duckling action. Outside of that, yeah, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for your support. We'll see you guys in an hour for the Americas. See you then. Bye.